Hey everybody, it's me. As you can tell by my settings, I'm back in the States. I have been for a couple of weeks. Um, my apologies on not updating my UK adventures. I got busy in the UK, and then I came home and I got sick. So, where were we? My memory's kind of fuzzy now. But, let's see. I guess I'll just jump right into what I actually can remember. I saw my friend Susanna. Um, Met her for the first time. We've known each other for 4 or 5 years now, I think. Um, Enough to make me feel old. Um, so, yeah, we've known each other for quite a while. And, oops, sorry, I don't want you guys staring into my closet. Um, we've known each other for quite a while, and I finally got to meet her in person for the first time. I spent the night at her house. It was a lot of fun. Well, first getting there, I took the train from Norwich. It was not pronounced Norwich. It was pronounced Norwich. Me and my infinite Americanness. Um, I took the train from Norwich to London Liverpool Street, and then I had to get on the underground. Derpity doo. I had to get on the London Underground in the tubes and make my way to Victoria Line and take that from uh, London to uh, Susanna's Susanna's house, Susanna's town, which I'm not going to disclose. But yeah, so I got there pretty late. Her and her mom picked me up from the train station, and it was really nice to finally meet her mom and see her. And she jumped out of the car and she ran at me and gave me a big hug, and it was really nice. Um, we went back. Her mom made us dinner really quick before going off to choir rehearsal, and it was delicious. And her aunt made a cake in commemoration of me being there, and I was like, oh, but it was so nice. So I got to see her house, and it's a really nice house, and all of her cats, and we watched Iron Man. Uh, we tried to watch Extremis, which she has. She tried to show it to me, but her laptop kept farting out, so we watched the Iron Man, the live action one. Um, then we talked for a while. Then we ended up going to bed, and I slept in. I slept kind of late. She woke me up with a cup of tea. I'd actually been awake a couple hours before that, but I was like, oh, I can maybe sleep for another half hour. Passed out. So, um, yeah, but she had to go to work, so her mom took me around the town and she showed me, and it's a really nice place. It's a beautiful little place. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was sort of everything I'd ever wanted as a kid to live in, just like the way the buildings were set up, because I don't live in a place like that. I don't live where you can walk places and the buildings are all kind of homey and close together, and it's, like the parks are beautiful and gorgeous with these big hills and a lot of history and beautiful churches. I live in an urban sprawl. If you want a definition of urban sprawl, it's pretty much my house. Like, it's the area I live in. um, Urban sprawl is when a city branches out, and I live 20 miles outside of my city, but I still technically live in the city of, you know, I still technically live in the city, but not like in the inner city. I live 20 miles outside of it, but I still live in the city area. That's urban sprawl. So uh, Living with that, like, I'd never had the chance. I don't live in a neighborhood. I live off of a really busy street. So, um, it was everything that I'd never had and everything I'd sort of wanted. So it was a really nice experience. Um, Susanna met up with her mom and I, and we had lunch in this beautiful church. I believe it was in the church. We sat outside and talked, and it was just really nice. It showed me around a little bit more. We went back to her house. I sat her down and made her watch Thor, as I will make like every friend of mine do, because I've done it to 3 people directly, and then one person indirectly. Sam just heard me talking about it so much she decided to check it out. So it was really nice. I couldn't stay very long. I was there less than 24 hours, but it was so nice to finally meet her, and her mom are just fantastic. So Susanna, because I know you're probably gonna watch this, I love you and I love your mom. You two are amazing, and I'm so grateful that I got to meet both of you, and I'm so grateful that you guys were willing to put me up for a night. I had a great time. I absolutely had a fantastic time. Um, so I went back Thursday. I went over to Susanna's on Wednesday and came back Thursday. I got there Thursday night, and Fuzz and I stopped by the student pub and had a drink. I found a drink that I like there called Snake Bites. They're different than they are in the U.S. apparently. It's pretty much cider and beer. And the thing about the UK is, like, because that's pretty much all they had. We went looking for a cocktail bar. We didn't really find one. There was one in town. Fuzz just couldn't remember where it was, and that's fine. We just gone back to another pub and had a beer and dessert instead. So, but it's really nice there because their beer is actually good there. I mean, I don't like the thing about the food in England was I wasn't really expecting, like, I'd heard, you know, jokes and stuff about how English food was awful and but oh, you can eat it if you're American, and like, yeah, it tastes different, but not in a bad way. I was actually much more adventurous over in the UK than I was in the US ever, in terms of my food tastes. So I actually feel like if I lived in the UK, I'd probably be a lot healthier, just because their food is so different. And like, for example, I ate a wrap my first night there. I don't like wraps. Like, I don't. There's a place by our house called Rio Wraps. I don't like it. I don't like wraps. I just don't like it. But I tried one at Nando's. I know I talked about that in one of the last videos. It was delicious. It was just fucking delicious. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, my adventurous taste. I mean, their burgers were a little off, but that's because they have mostly sheep, from what I saw. So, but it wasn't terrible. I mean, they still had good burgers. Their chips, they're known over here as French fries. I'm sort of in the habit of referring to them as chips now, and chips are known as crisps. They have really good crisps, too. They had prawn cocktail, so shrimp cocktail crisps. Oh my god, they were so good, and I don't like seafood. They were so good. So, yeah, the next couple of days were pretty much Fuzz and I hanging out. We went to the bookstore again 2 more times, so I went to the bookstore 3 times when I was over there. I got a shit ton of books. And I've read through most of them already. I've just been on a reading spree lately. So, yeah, so we just really hung around for the next couple of days. I actually went back. I went to Manchester on Friday because my flight out was Saturday. So I had an afternoon train, and I got into Manchester at about 10 p.m., and I went to bed because I had to wake up at 6 to get on my flight to go back home. So I technically said goodbye to Fuzz on Friday, and it was really hard. I really enjoyed the week I had there. It definitely wasn't what I'd expected, but not in a bad way. I'd sort of expected to be sort of like playing the tourist, but I didn't, and I think I liked it better that way, because Norwich isn't really a place where you can play the tourist. It's not a very touristy place. Like London, they're used to having all sorts of accents. So, you know, like, people didn't look at me twice when I spoke, but, in Norwich, you know, like, people would look around like, what? There's an accent, because they just don't get a lot of it there. Which is, you know, it's fine. It's really odd to hear an accent in a place you don't expect it. Like, you know, if I lived in Beloit and not on the campus, if I lived in Beloit and I heard a foreign accent, if I heard someone with an Irish accent, I would be like, what the fuck? So, I mean, it's the cultural thing. So, but I started picking up a British lilt. I've unfortunately lost most of it. But I'm going to attempt to do my. I see, the thing is, like, when I do it consciously, it sounds terrible. But like when it pops out of my mouth, it sounds pretty natural. So, I was actually on my way back to Norwich from Susanna's, and I'm walking along the train because it leaves in like 2 minutes. I'd managed to catch a really early train. So, no, no, it was from London. That was it. It was from London. I managed to catch one of the earlier trains back instead of waiting like an extra hour or so. So I'm walking alongside the train, and I'm walking next to this woman, and I just really want to like triple check. I was very paranoid about the trains, but I looked at her and I said, "Excuse me, is this the train to Norwich?" And I was like, like what? Like, what just popped out of my mouth? I'm sorry, that's not a very good impersonation of a British accent, but like I said, it just pops out when I don't expect it. Um, I'm sort of in the habit now of saying cheers instead of bye. Um, and like whenever I say thank you, there's still a slight lilt when I talk to people. It's a thank you, sort of, it pops out. I can't really imitate it. But yeah, I am unfortunately losing that British lilt, and it makes me very sad face. But yeah, I'm pretty much an expert at riding trains now. I feel like kind of a badass because I rode across the country with my checked suitcase, my carry-on, and my heavy laptop bag, and I didn't lose anything. I never missed a train. I never had to, you know, reschedule anything. I bam, bam, bam. I'm very proud of myself. I got really good at riding the trains, so it was a great experience all around. I had such a fantastic time. I'm definitely going to go back at some point. But on the way back on the airport, or actually on the plane itself, I got on the plane and I was sitting, and I didn't sit in the business class, but I was sitting in the bulkhead of the economy class. And this isn't the kind that had the screens on the back of the chairs. It's just had a screen and then a screen in the bigger area and a screen. It's just one big screen, and that everyone looked on. But so I stick my suitcase because I have plenty of room to stretch my feet. That's why I got the seat there. I oh, excuse me, plenty of room to stretch my feet. So I put my suitcase down so I could toss my laptop bag down and then lift my suitcase up. And I look down and my suitcase is gone, and I'm like starting to panic. And I see that the guy who was sitting next to me, um, I had already lifted my suitcase up, and it started to fall on him a little bit. And he's like, "Oh, bollocks!" And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm going, "This is gonna be a good plane ride," and it was. He was a very, very nice man. His name was Steve. Very well traveled. He's from New Zealand, and he'd been to like Australia, and he'd lived in Australia. Now he was living in the UK, and he was going over to the States for a conference. Very nice guy. We sat there and talked most of the time. Watched the movies. There were 4 movies. I didn't give a shit about the other 3, but one of them I'd been meaning to see forever. Midnight in Paris. It is absolutely phenomenal, especially if you are a fan of the 1920s, if you are a writer, if you are an artist. You will appreciate it. It is a gorgeous, beautiful movie, easily one of my top 5 favorites of all time. Um, Absolutely fantastic. I was writhing in literary ecstasy. And then I got back to Atlanta, and then I had like 6 hours to kill between my flights, so I just sat there at the gate and waited till we boarded. Then I got back to Madison, and then I got back and I was starving, so Gamba took me out at like 10 or 11 p.m. We went to Applebee's, and that ends my UK adventures. I had to summarize them really quickly because I actually have to get ready to go to my next class now. So, but yeah, that's the long and short of it. I'm definitely going to go back. It was it was amazing. It was incredible. I'm really glad I went. I'm really glad I stepped out of my comfort zone. I feel like something inside me changed because of it. That's really sentimental and kind of weird, but I feel like something has changed from my experience there, and it was only a week. So, I mean, but I went by myself. I flew overseas by myself. I navigated across the country, a foreign country, by myself. So I'm really proud of myself because I was stepping way out of my comfort zone, and it's something that takes a lot of courage to do. And not to like toot my own horn there, but I'm not the kind of person to make those kind of decisions. I'm not the kind of person to be like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be proactive and adventurous. I'm really not. I'm happy in my comfort zone. So I stepped way out, and I'm very proud of myself. I had a fantastic time with Fuzz, and I had a great time meeting Susanna and her mom. So that is it for my UK adventures, and I have to get ready to go to class. So I'll update you guys on what's been going on with my life in a bit. I'll see you guys later.